So, usually when it comes to my content, I usually always talk about wrestling. Usually my content is usually full of wrestling content, but this video is gonna be a bit different. This is something I should have spoken about quite a while ago, but I listened to other people's opinions first before I gave my thoughts and opinions on this whole thing. Now obviously if you've seen the thumbnail and title of this video, we're going to be talking about the brand new Dragon Ball series that'll be taking place next year in 2024. The new Dragon Ball series is called Dragon Ball Daima. It was supposed to be called Dragon Ball Z Magic, or Dragon Ball Magic, but I guess they changed the name to make it a bit more magical. Now some of you may be wondering, oh Patrick, this is good news, more Dragon Ball content for you to consume. Well, yes and no. There's only one major problem. The only thing that I do not like about this whole Dragon Ball Daima is the whole concept of the trailer that everybody saw. Akira Toriyama, the main writer of the entire show, spoke heavily about how he needed his characters to grow up. So now he's and people have said he is now heavily involved in this new show. People have said he's very heavily involved in Dragon Ball Daima. And why did I bring up the whole concept of his characters growing up? Well, they have decided to pull a Dragon Ball GT and turn Goku into a kid again. Why? Why make Goku a kid again? Seriously, if you want to see Goku as a kid, just watch the original Dragon Ball. Like, this was the main reason I didn't like GT, was because Goku being a kid is just something, you know, I follow a fair amount of Dragon Ball content creators, but I've heard a lot of them say turning Goku into a kid is not a great idea, and it just purely rips off Dragon Ball GT. But many people may think, oh, this is just a reboot of Dragon Ball GT. No, it's a completely new series. Now, Goku in GT, they only made Goku a kid. But what if I told you, in Dragon Ball Daima, they took it one step further. They made every character kids. From Krillin, to Gohan, to Bulma, to Chi-Chi, to Vegeta, even Piccolo, and Master Roshi, etc., etc. Hell, even the Supreme Kai and Kibito are kids. Yes, even the Supreme Kai, Shin, is a kid. Are we going to assume that Beerus and Whis are kids also? So that means Hercule, Mr. Satan, is a kid. Videl is a kid. Every single character in Universe 7 are kids. This is just stupid. I do not like this. It just screams ridiculousness. And again, back to what I said before about Akira Toriyama saying that he likes his characters being grown up. Why did he okay this? Why did he okay this? It basically goes against everything he said. Oh, I like my characters growing up. One of the guys I watched on social media basically said that he explained in his video that he said Akira Toriyama threatened to shut down Dragon Ball as an entire series if they did not let Goku grow up. So he's basically gone against everything he has basically said. He's gone against everything he said. That, oh, Goku must grow up. All the characters need to grow up. But now in this new series, all the characters have become kids. Even Bulma and Chi-Chi and Master Roshi, every single character are kids. It is ridiculous that it's ridiculous that they're doing this. It really is. And one of the things I wanted to bring to your attention is why I've never been a fan of anime shows that always never grow up their characters. Let's take Pokemon, for example. Why do you think I stopped watching Pokemon? Why do you think I stopped watching Pokemon? Because they never grew Ash up. They never matured him into an adult. There is no way throughout his entire series of him being a part of the show, from Season 1 all the way to Journeys, that he was 10 years old. There's no way you can basically say, oh, Ash was at 10 years old throughout that entire time. 365 days is an entire calendar year. There's no way you can say, from the day that he turned 10 years old to Pokemon Journeys, a full calendar went by and he finished his entire journey in 1 year. There is no way you can convince me. It's not... And there are adult characters in the show. Like Professor Oak. There are adults in the show. Professor Oak, the elderly professors. There are freaking people in the Pokemon League that are clearly in their 30s and 40s. There's no way you can convince me that every single character in Pokemon are children. Frickin' the gym leaders, like, sure, Brock and Misty were gym leaders, and so was, what's his name? Silent? So was Silent, sure, and so was May and Max's father, but, you know, they don't count, their father's the gym leader, not them, but it baffles me that there are adult characters in the entire show. So you're telling me that you couldn't have Ash grow up into an adult and basically made it look like, oh, an adult Ash is still catching Pokemon? You can't call it weird. You can't say, oh, an adult Ash catching Pokemon is weird. Well then, there are so many adults in the world of Pokemon that still do Pokemon battling for a living, so you can't really say it's weird to see adults playing with Pokemon. There are a ton of adults in Pokemon. There's no way you can say Ash grew up. There's no way you can say Ash did not grow up throughout his entire time. And that's the problem with it. That's the problem with Pokemon. That Ash was still a kid. He was still a kid, and he never learned from his mistakes. Because as a kid, when you get older, you learn from your mistakes when you get older. So because they kept him as a kid, he continuously fell for Team Rocket's tactics. He never learned any lessons. He continued to act like a spoiled child in the series, and he never matured. So to see Ash just be like a 10-year-old throughout his entire journey, it just doesn't feel natural. It just doesn't feel natural. It's not like we were, like, if you were there throughout his entire journey, and to see him grow up and become an adult, and then he eventually left the Pokemon series, then I would understand. Because then it would feel more impactful, because we saw him grow up. But we never saw him grow up. Dragon Ball is different because they let Goku grow. Most cartoon shows, they never let the kids grow up. They prefer keeping them as kids because, oh, the show's for kids. We can't have an adult. We can't have the kids see an adult Ash. Of course they can show an adult Ash. It would show the kids that he's growing up. And I'm clearly not the target audience here, because I was anxious. Because here's the thing, I've been waiting for a new Dragon Ball anime for a while. I've been waiting for part 2 of Dragon Ball Super. I wanted to see the Moro stuff. I wanted to see the Granola stuff. I wanted to see Black Frieza. I wanted to see Ultra Ego. I wanted to see Goku Master Ultra Instinct. But it looks like we're going to have to wait a bit longer on that now, do we? You know, when Dragon Ball Super came out, all those years ago, I think it might have been 2016, 2017, I can't remember when Dragon Ball Super aired. But when Dragon Ball Super first started, everybody crapped on it. People did not like it because, okay, fair enough. The Battle of Gods and the Resurrection of F stuff, okay, I'll let you pass. I'll let you slide on that one. If you've seen the movies, you don't need to see those. In my personal opinion, if you're gonna watch Dragon Ball Super, just watch from the Universe 6 saga all the way to the Zamasu stuff to the Tournament of Power. You'll definitely have more enjoyment out of Super then. But I find it ironic that people just did not enjoy Super. Like some people said they hated it. They said they hated how they made Goku dumb, and etc, etc. So, I saw a lot of people rag on Super and say Super is terrible, I don't like Super, it destroys what I love about the franchise, and now obviously there are some people that are probably excited for Dragon Ball Daima, but it's ironic how a lot of people didn't enjoy Super, but the people that I watch now, they're now like, oh man, you know, I think we should have appreciated Super while it was here. You know, Dragon Ball Super, you know, as flawed as the show was, it's got some good memorable moments. So, people are now basically saying, oh boy, they regret ever giving Dragon Ball Super crap. And that's kind of like the whole point of people in life. Because people don't enjoy something, but then when it's gone, you learn to appreciate it more. You learn to appreciate it more when it's gone, and then you're like, wow, I really gave this show a bad rap. It's actually a lot better than I thought. You see, I never felt that way about Dragon Ball Super, to be completely honest. I love Dragon Ball Super. I actually really love it. I've got nothing but positive things to say about it. There are maybe some things I might not have liked, but I appreciated it while I had it. I appreciated the show while I had it, just in case if something like Dragon Ball Daima happened. And now here we are, with a new series, and now Goku and everybody are kids again. They're basically turned Goku, Vegeta, every single main character into kids. And I wish people, and now we're in this phase where I wish that I would prefer just keep waiting for more, to be perfectly honest. You know, I love Dragon Ball, and to see that we have to go through another Dragon Ball GT knockoff just to potentially wait for another Dragon Ball Super Part 2, because again, Dragon Ball Daima doesn't air until 2024. We may not get Dragon Ball Super until 2025 or 2026. We may not get it for a very, 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 very long time. But again, like, it just makes me go, oh man, do we really have to sit through all this? So me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this new series. Personally, I'm just gonna skip it. I'm personally just going to skip it. I might listen to what people say about the show. I might hear what, you know, people say about the show when the content creators I follow. I might hear their thoughts and opinions on the show, but it's not going to really convince me to watch it. But, yeah, personally, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Dragon Ball Daima. You guys let me know down below your thoughts on the entire thing. And also, one other thing I want to mention real quick before I wrap up this video is that Dragon Ball Daima, we don't know when this takes place. And for people to say, well, maybe this takes place after the Dragon Ball Super, Tournament of Power, that would not make any sense, because Dragon Ball Super Broly, the poster you see behind me that you can kind of barely not see, it's like over here, like you can kind of barely not see, but Dragon Ball Super Broly comes after the Tournament of Power. Because I've seen the movie, they talk about the Tournament of Power, and Goku says that he can't wait to fight more strong guys after the tournament, that he's continuing his training, so that way he can be prepared in case of another Tournament of Power happens, which leads into the Broly stuff, and then we get Dragon Ball Super Superhero. So there's no way that... So, when Goku becomes a kid, there's no way in hell you are convincing me that we're going to be seeing Kid Super Saiyan God Goku, Kid Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and Kid Ultra Instinct Goku. There is no way in hell his childlike body is going to, it's the same thing with Vegeta, because he can do that too, minus Ultra Instinct. There's no way you can tell me that their childlike bodies are going to be able to achieve this. Well, some people are going to say, well, Kid Goku and GT was able to go to Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan. Well, that's Super Saiyan. Well, that's Super Saiyan, but even then it didn't feel realistic. And Gohan, and again, we don't know where this takes place, and if this takes place after the Superhero movie, there's no way you're telling me that Gohan can go Gohan Beast, or Piccolo can turn into Orange Piccolo as a kid. This is why I'm saying turning these characters into kids makes no sense, because now we're going to be seeing kid versions of potentially their Super Saiyan transformations, which again doesn't feel realistic to me. So if you think about that logically, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, that's really all I got to say. I don't want to get into the whole canon and not canon stuff, because that stuff is just too complicated. But, again, I guess we'll see how this whole show turns out. But, personally, I'm basically going to be taking a pass on it, in my personal opinion.